Well, Jared Blay, Deputy Premier Member for Kawana, joined by Kendall Morton, our hard-working member for Caloundra. Well, Palestine Passage is good to go for a review into the Bribie Island breakthrough. I stood here only a couple of weeks ago with Kendall, the Mayor and community groups, promising on behalf of the LNP Crisafulli government that we would get to the bottom of what has happened with our beautiful Palestine Passage. We know over the years there's been reviews, but no community direct consultation. That's going to change now. The LNP, David Crisafulli LNP government is announcing today that we are good to go with a review. We're announcing today that we have selected the independent reviewer, and that is RPS in conjunction with ICM. RPS and ICM will now conduct the review into the Bribie Island breakthrough. We know when ex-tropical cyclone Alfred was going to hit our shores, there was lots of anxiety in the Golden Beach community because of what could have happened with storm surge, tidal surges. We want to make sure the community, particularly in Golden Beach, the residents have a say. They were denied an opportunity to have a say over the last few years. In fact, the Labor Party in government neglected the Sunshine Coast community, particularly the residents of Caloundra and Golden Beach. The Labor Party said, she'll be right, nothing to see here. Well, clearly there is something to see here, including what's now nearly a 2-kilometre breakthrough. Now, there's lots of opinions on the breakthrough, why it happened, when it happened, was it to be avoided? We don't know, that's why we're doing the independent review. Community have been calling for this independent review, and I'm very pleased today to advise that the Department of Infrastructure and Planning have now engaged RPS and ICM, both international experts and consultants with respect to coastal erosion. The terms of reference are being released today on a website. Community consultation will open next Thursday. This is really important that the residents of Golden Beach have a say and have input into their ideas, their fears for their community, their residents. We know ex-tropical cyclone Alfred has bumped another punch through Bribie Island, and the concern that we have as a government and also as a community, that if that new area that has been punched through near Lions Park across from the Powerboat Club joins the already nearly 2-kilometre stretch that's already broken through, it could have devastating consequences for the residents of Golden Beach. So we've got to get to the bottom of it. And we've got to get to the bottom of it with community input. So Kendall, I want to thank you for raising these issues. You know, you have achieved more in 157 days that you've been the member for Caloundra than the former member, Jason Hunt, achieved in 3 years. He denied there was an issue, he didn't have community consultation, and he kept just using blame game. We're over the blame game. We've got to get on with the job. So the terms of reference are being released at 1 o'clock today. They have been released. The website through the Department of State Development is now live. Community consultation will start taking place from next Thursday, when community members in Golden Beach will actually have an opportunity to have their say online. We will also have community forums to ensure, just as we have done with the residents of Southern Gold Coast with Light Rail Stage 4, they can also have their say. So I'm excited that we will actually have this review underway. The final point I'll make on the terms of reference, they are very broad, and we've included a terms of reference. 2 things. 1, anything the reviewer wants to take into consideration. So it's a very broad term of reference. Community will be able to have a say. The second point I'd make is this. We have allowed in the terms of reference, if the reviewer believes that there are immediate steps the government should be taking to prevent further breakthroughs, they will have capacity through the terms of reference to make those recommendations to government. And that's what we want to do. We don't want this to be years and years away for solutions. We want interim solutions and we want long-term solutions. So thank you, Kendall, for your community advocacy. I'm going to hand to Kendall now. I'll come back for questions. Thank you, Kendall.
Hello, Kendall Morton, member for Caloundra. Well, first off, it's a very exciting day, and I want to say a big thank you to the Deputy Premier. It is what we've witnessed over the last 10 years is certainly not a government that actually listens to the community. And to be able to be part of this government with the Deputy Premier and the Premier who have listened to the people of Caloundra, regarding this issue and their legitimate concerns around the foreshore of Golden Beach, the Powerboat Club, a safe waterway for recreational use. You know, the protection of our island here is very important for the people of Caloundra, and what this review means is that we will get some independent and quality advice that the community, who are the local experts, actually get to have their say. After decades and decades of not being able to have their say, raising concerns, and all of those concerns falling on deaf ears, to be able to stand here today and actually see some action is one of the greatest days that we can hope for here in Caloundra. We have listened, we are delivering, and this is a government that knows right and wrong and is doing good things for the people of Caloundra. We know that our community's been neglected, we know that we've been ignored, and the terms of reference that we've got with this inquiry, we haven't seen a review or a report of this nature ever before. So we will get that community consultation, we'll get those ideas, everyone will have the opportunity to have their input in order to see if there are solutions that we need to put in place. And the fact that the terms of reference allow for urgent remedial action recommendations is a really good thing as well. So thank you, Deputy Premier, and thank you to the Premier. It's a really good day for Caloundra, and we're super excited.
Thanks, Kendall.
Different to the light rail when we're talking in the community, there seems to just be one solution to bring together. I guess why is it this?
Well, it's necessary to, one, give community a say, but also recognising that there are international experts on coastal erosion to look at what solutions are for the future. Because just replacing the island and filling the gaps means there are impacts for the northern area of Bulcock Beach, the quality of the water issue, which is also in the terms of reference to look at, how boaties get out of Pelican water out to the ocean through the bar. We obviously have a second bar now that's become quite dangerous. It was safer originally when it first broke through, but now it's quite dangerous. So I think there is a lot that has to be on the table here. Community will have their chance to have a say. I know there's community associations that set up and really advocating for solutions. But we also need to look at longer term, what can we do? And I know at the Gold Coast, they've had action like this for years, where they've actually, through proactive with council and state government, with international experts, in putting in measures to make sure that what we're seeing here at Golden Beach doesn't happen in the future. So that's all on the table. That's why it's important the community has a say, but also recognising that the government needs the experts to take all this information, look at the reports that have been commissioned over the years, look at how the breakthrough eventuated. We are on the shipping channel is just out the front here. Sand has been taken away, taken to Brisbane Airport and the Maroochydore Airport. So these issues all have to be looked at and addressed by appropriately independent, qualified people.
Tell us a little bit about, yes, ICM. I guess to listeners at home, that just is 6 letters. What are they?
Well, RPS is a company that have coastal engineers. They do international research in coastal erosion. They are experts in this field. It's a Queensland-based company as well. ICM is a company based on the Gold Coast, International Coastal Management. So RPS are the independent reviewer, but they will also contract with ICM to use their expertise, particularly about southeast Queensland erosion. They've done a lot of work on the Gold Coast. So it's basically coastal engineering experts that have looked at not only problems, but finding solutions for the future. That's why they were chosen. It was independent of me. My Department of Infrastructure and Planning went through a probity process and then selected those two companies on the basis of the conversations and the terms of reference that we've put in place.
Experts are concerned that ongoing intervention is not the best solution, and some areas eventually will be lifted in. What are you going to do if that's the error?
I think the priority for the reviewers has to be to look at how we prevent that from occurring in the future. We can't have a situation where the entire stretch of Golden Beach, it's just not acceptable to think that people aren't going to live in Golden Beach. We have to protect the residents that live in Golden Beach and Pelican Waters and in Caloundra. So that's absolutely in the terms of reference to how we prevent further erosion of the island. But also, the Bribie Island is the protection of the hundreds of residents and homes, thousands of residents that live in Golden Beach and Pelican Waters. There's also an economic issue here with the marina. We've now got the Pelican Waters Marina with boaties and fisher people that go out every day. It's important for their livelihood as well that we maximise this, and I don't even have to mention the tourism elements. I've lived in Caloundra most of my life. I've grown up on the Palmerstone Passage. I've been boated in it with my dad, my brother and sister, and I take my kids in the tinny and the jet ski out there now. And it's changed a lot. There are elements actually that are quite dangerous there at the moment with all the hidden logs and so forth from the two events, not only Cyclone Seth that came through in 2022, but also ex-tropical Cyclone Alfred. It's changed the whole dynamic of the passage, and people who, I last time we were here, I met a couple and talked to them that have a holiday home in Caloundra, and they hadn't been back since ex-tropical Cyclone Alfred. They saw it and how it's changed, and they didn't recognise it. We've got to make sure we look at the tourism aspect, the safety aspect, the residents that are living here, and also the economic benefit for this region by having a safe passage out to the ocean and also a safe passage within the Palmerstone Passage to keep it as beautiful as ever before.
You don't want the review findings to be years away, I guess. I know it's unrealistic to say an exact date. What are we expecting?
Well, we've put a date of August on this, so community consultation will open next Thursday. We've given the reviewer to August to at least get some information to government, and that's going to be depending on the reviewer once they start the review and to see the mountain of documents that already exist. I've already met with Mayor Rosanna Natoli this morning about this. Mayor Rosanna Natoli has said absolutely council will give whatever resources they have available in terms of previous reports and things to the reviewer, because it's important in an open and transparent way. We look at all the issues, take people on a journey. But I think more importantly than any of this is the community have got to have a say. They have not been afforded an opportunity. When David Crisafulli was the opposition leader, him and I, when the first breakthrough came past just in 2022, we actually travelled on the Coast Guard boat. David Crisafulli and I were out there in the middle of when the first breakthrough happened, and it was just a small breakthrough. For goodness sake, look at it now. It's like 1.8 kilometres wide. And David Crisafulli and I said, at that juncture, something's got to be done about this. Unfortunately, the previous government just let it keep going and going into what it is now. What it is now, a lot of the area in the Palmerstone Passage is unsafe. There are logs that in low tide you can see sort of standing up now, which is a danger to boaties and tinnies and all the people that use the waterways. You've got a water quality issue in the northern area now of the Palmerstone Passage, which of course is the Bullcock Beach area. And you can't access that now in boats. And the Coast Guard can't even use their Coast Guard facility. The Coast Guard have had to move their vehicles down to their boats down to now the Pelican Waters Marina because they can't actually get to their facility at Bullcock Beach.